welcome to another episode of Get Out of Rap. Today, I'm very pleased to be joined by Dan Schlenzig, the head of CX sales at Cisco. We were just talking before recording about some of the great stuff that you will be able to see that Cisco are doing. It's really exciting, and we're going to jump into it right now. But Dan, thanks very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Let's start, shall we? This is something I always like to do with, I know that you are very well known in the industry, but for everyone listening, what's been your journey up to now, head of CX sales?
Crikey. Well, started a long time ago, but I think like most of your guests probably, we've all had our stint in the contact center. So back in my very early 20s, I was on a help desk for a company called Unipart, you may recognize, but
Yeah.
essentially all the car dealerships, when they had issues with their tech, will call our help desk, and we would then help them troubleshoot their basically a mainframe system back in those days. So so I was one of those guys on the help desk taking phone calls. Did that for quite a few years, well, a couple of years probably. And then I sort of moved into more of a technical IT role. So I worked a lot with Cisco and Microsoft resellers, basically deploying Microsoft solutions and Cisco solutions into end customers. Then I moved into more of a sort of design role, like pre-sales type role. So I designed the architectures, got a bit more technical around some of the like infrastructure as well. But I also really enjoyed the contact center piece. So I very quickly moved out of that into then like a more of a channel role. So I worked for a really small New Zealand startup in the UK where we sold this like all-encompassing UC solution. And I was the channel manager for them, looking after some big resellers like BT and those kind of guys. Did that for maybe 6-7 years, and then moved into Cisco as a contact center or CX specialist seller. And I've been here for 12 years now. Started off as an individual contributor, then moving, so just doing that for maybe 6-7 years, and now I manage a team of 12 people all across Europe.
Wow.
So I've got 22 countries. So UK and Ireland, and all of what we call EMEA South, so like Italy, Spain, Portugal, France, then up to Austria and the Baltics. So quite a wide geography, but it's really, really enjoyable. You learn something new every day. I love working with lots of different countries because they all do things a bit differently. And that's really good fun.
Did you, I'm always interested about someone that is in a kind of prominent senior position. Was that always a goal, or is it kind of just enjoying yourself, progressing, developing, and then that happens? Or did you always have that in mind?
Actually, no, I didn't. I really enjoyed being an individual contributor because it's, you sort of exactly what you need to do. You have your task, your goal, like you will do this and you will bring in this amount of revenue. And if you do that, then happy days, you can continue to work and be successful. But then I don't know, it just sort of happened. We had a lot of movements within Cisco. Cisco changes all the time. It's obviously a huge company. You do like $50 billion worth of revenue. The contact center piece only, in Cisco's terms, smallish. It's like $1 billion, let's say. So there are so many things competing for attention within Cisco. And with that comes lots of changes, but also lots of opportunities as well. And I've been really lucky that in the time I've been at Cisco, we've had that whole transition from on-premise to cloud, and I've been part of that journey. But with that came lots of internal changes, which meant it gave me opportunities to basically look at this wider role. And I thought, that's just too good opportunity to miss. I love traveling as well. Right? So I'm actually Danish. I'm not English, but I've lived in England since 1989. So I feel pretty British. But I do like just traveling around Europe and seeing all that and managing those different teams. It is really, really good fun, all the different cultures.
That is fascinating. And I don't know if you saw, but last week, Get Out of Rap for the first time featured in the top 120, top 110 in the Danish Apple Management podcast charts.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, hello, Danish brethren.
And for you now, then, I love the kind of the international flavor. I've worked abroad before, and I think just working with people, your team, being spread in different countries, different cultures, how they do business, all of the different, whether it's regulations or employee kind of guidelines and things like that. I just think if you're open-minded, you're always gonna learn. Do you think with your team that there are more similarities or more differences in the markets, let's say?
Man, the markets are very different. I mean, when we look at the Nordics, for example, um, they're still very well, public sector especially is very much into on-premise. So, like,
Really?
Sweden, they don't. If you're in Swedish government, they don't want anything in a public cloud. It's all got to be on-prem. So, actually, being one of the very few players out there who still develop on-premise solutions, we're having a boom time over there because it's not many other vendors out there still developing at pace on-prem. Whereas that's part of our strategy. We want to sort of make sure you can basically meet the customers where they want to be.
Yeah.
It's the same for like France as well, public sector. They quite like to have things in France. Then you got, of course, the AI piece as well. Every single country is still trying to find their way on AI. So not just from a residency and sovereignty point of view, like where's your data kept, where is it being analyzed, where's it being stored, all those kind of things, but also how's the technology able to manage those different languages, right? Because in Europe we have so many languages. We have like someone in Germany will probably shoot me, but there's like lots of different German dialects as well. You have to contend with, Swiss German, all these different ones. And actually, when you go to a lot of the vendors, they just do like one version of German kind of thing. So because we are global, we have to meet everybody. So that is a challenge, but also a good opportunity for us. But it just means, it doesn't, we don't launch everything all in one go, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we definitely try to cover all these different regions, and it does get quite interesting.
That's fascinating and kind of real evidence of definitely meeting your customers where they want to be met, right? Both in terms of language, but also in their technical infrastructure. It and you being at Cisco for 12 years says a lot, I think, in terms of your what you feel about the company. You've mentioned that there's change, and in that change is opportunity. But why do you think you've been at Cisco for 12 years?
Um, well, I mean, it's a really great company to work for. I mean, anyone who Googles it, they'll see that it's one of the best companies to work in the world, and we've won best company in the UK, best company in Italy and Spain, all those kind of countries. It's a really good place to work. It's a really good culture, good people around you, but also it's your sort of typical American company, right? It's quite focused and sales driven, and you have to meet the numbers. But I quite like that kind of pressure, so I sort of feel that suits my personality quite well. But also it's really interesting. I mean, when I first started at Cisco, we were like the market leaders in on-prem contact center. Right, that was pretty much our thing. We were always top of mind for anyone deploying a contact center or a telephony solution, for example. To be fair, we were a little bit slow on the whole cloud migration piece. So we didn't really bring our public cloud offering out until properly until probably early 2021. But essentially, that was a really good time to be here because it was always built from the ground up. So we had all the knowledge from the legacy on-prem days. We'd seen what the market had done through COVID time. We'd seen what the other big players have been doing since they started their cloud transformation, probably in sort of 2013, 2014. And then we took sort of the best bits and used that as the basis for our platform. So I feel like it might have been a bit late, but actually it was a really good time for us now to have this, like, probably the most
You've had a
modern.
look.
Yeah, exactly. We have the most modern architecture globally now because we built it later than pretty much all the others on really modern infrastructure with all that knowledge of the previous solution. So it's given us a good foundation to build. So what I'm seeing now, which is what keeps me going basically, is like how we're just innovating constantly. All the new stuff coming out in AI, all the new stuff coming out on the agent supervised interface and operations, all those things are just accelerating a lot now. And that's really, really cool. And we're seeing the customers really enjoying that. For someone who runs a sales team, what you like the best is when customers really like what they're using. And, you don't get a phone call the next day saying, "Oh, Dan, what have you done? You've sold me a lemon." It's like people are really, really liking using our solutions. So that's really great. Gives you real fulfillment.
And what a time to be in our industry right now with everything that's going on. It's right. It's everywhere, but it's right that we talk about AI. I mean, it's transformative.
Mm.
You mentioned there innovation, and we've spoken a couple of times now just about your kind of excitement around what you guys are doing. But when you look at our industry and where we're at, what's your kind of take on that?
I mean, there's just so many players out there now. You have all the traditional CCaaS players. They're all doing what they've been doing for a while. I've got the CRM guys, Salesforce and ServiceNow, and all those organizations sort of getting a little bit into the CCaaS game, like building their own, some acquiring, some just partnering with other CCaaS providers to build like that full omni-channel engagement. But then, of course, AI is coming in, disrupting all that. Because, like, and if you're a CRM player, my view is if you're a CRM player and suddenly your USP is your interface in CRM, isn't it?
Yeah.
If suddenly the interface becomes the agent interface, then your USP is gone. So actually, you need to figure out your future, which has got to be AI, which I think you can see from Salesforce. They're building this AI agent force. Because one day, I'd imagine, you'll just have big databases, your snowflakes of the world, being where all the data is kept, unstructured data, then AI will just interrogate it and do what needs to be done. So that would be disruptive if you're a CRM player. And then, of course, you have all the on-prem guys, moving all their portfolios to cloud as well and disrupting themselves.
But for you guys are doing something that you think, and we've talked about, is a bit different in terms of focus as well. So, and there's a chance that people are going to be able to see that at the expo. But
Yeah.
what is it?
Yeah. So we're obviously moving very heavily into AI across all our channels, but also especially voice. So, back to your point a minute ago about the different vendors out there, there's also a lot of AI vendors doing siloed solutions. So you have an AI vendor doing maybe just voice, some doing digital, some trying to do both. It's actually really, really hard. Doing digital is actually fairly straightforward because the text is already there.
Mm.
But when you have to do the voice element, not to mention different languages, then that's where it gets really tricky, right? So if you imagine calling into a contact center with voice, and the quality of the voice isn't up to scratch, then rubbish in, rubbish out. Right? So it's really, really important to have the baseline done. And that's one thing where I think we sort of excel because we've come from that heritage of voice. We bought quite a lot of companies that really help us make the voice better. So like there was an acquisition a few years ago called Babel Labs, which essentially just takes out background noise, but also now fills in gaps. So if you're literally having a conversation like you and me right now, and there was maybe some lag, it would fill in the voice bits for you.
Wow.
So translate that into an AI agent, they would get the full transcript of that voice being delivered to it. And then you can go into your LLMs to do whatever needs to be done to provide the answers or workflows you need. So I think that's one thing we've done differently. So what we're going to show at the CC Expo, for example, is it's a bit risky, but I think it's going to be cool because it's different. So we have our usual booth, as you'd imagine, but what we've done a sort of a phone booth type scenario. So where you're going to come in and you're going to have a big touch screen, and you're going to choose one of 4 different use cases. So we have a finance one, a retail, and a healthcare one. And they'll just take you through, like, it'll give you some hints and the sort of things you can ask it about, but you can basically ask it anything you like that will be within that domain. And then we have one that's a bit loose, which is called London. And what you can do there is just ask questions about London. So it's fully, there's no scripting, there's no prompts. You're just going to talk straight to an AI agent, experience exactly what it's like talking to a modern voice AI agent. What we've also done is we've integrated all of that into the demo pods as well. So you can basically escalate as well, because that's a really important bit that people forget quite often. AI isn't the answer to everything. AI isn't going to work every single time. It's a still new technology. There are customers who don't want to talk to AI who are going to say, I want to speak to an agent. So what we've done as well is you can escalate from an AI agent straight through to an agent desktop. So you're going to see that as well in the demonstrations we're doing. And what's really great there is that the agent will basically see all of the interactions that were done in the AI agent beforehand. And then there's no, this is just standard stuff for us. So this is where it's different from the players out there working with third parties who do siloed solutions. There's a lot of integration pieces here to make that piece work. This is all just native, it's all part of the same core platform. So that's going to be really exciting. So I'm hoping that's going to, well, we've all been playing a lot around with it a lot this week, and it's looking really good. So hopefully it'll be a success when you come to DC Expo.
I can imagine. I cannot wait. Where, so if I imagine then, if you are, let's say you're going to the expo and you're in the financial services sector, you can go to your booth, go to the financial services one, and just start talking to it and asking it questions about the sector, about whatever you want.
Yeah, well, when we've done financial service, we've done a fraud use case. So it's going to try to push you down the fraud. One of the other areas that's really important with AI is the guardrails.
Yeah.
So one thing we're focusing a lot on within Cisco is making sure that we can limit the, what's the word? Prompt injection, or asking irrelevant questions that aren't anything to do with the use case you're trying to deliver to your customers. And we've all seen all of the, we saw the DPD one a few years ago, we saw the one with Canada, all those sort of things are out there, right? So it's really, really important those things are, we keep those to a minimum. So we've done a lot of work internally around the guardrails and how we do like the integration to other LLMs to make sure that it doesn't affect the experience for everybody, and keeps it on task, if you will. So for this particular one, the finance one, we are going to keep it to a fraud use case on that. But there's nothing stopping us in the future. Right? If customers like what they see and say, look, can we do this for my use case here? That's why we're going to be at the expo. We want people to come and say to us, look, I love the fact that how this works for your fraud. How does it work for my use case, which is this? Because it's not going to work for every single use case, but it will work for quite a few of them. And my recommendation is always to pick something fairly easy, right? Have a look at how many calls you're taking on a particular use case. That could be good for deflection to AI, and then let's just try to develop something around that. So hopefully that's what will come out of the expo.
I really like that, because that's you, again, meeting your customers, potential customers, and getting them involved in, well, how could this work for you? What are some of the areas that would be beneficial for you? I've just got images, and I'm sure people listening have done the same thing. You mentioned the London one, and that you guys have been testing it. Have people been trying to, straight away my mind was like, oh, I wonder if I could do like, taxi drivers have the knowledge where they're just asked, I want to get from Paddington to, Marble Arch or something, but the quickest way, but the main road is shut. Have people been doing that kind of stuff, or what have people been doing?
I don't know. I don't know if they've done anything like that. I know we toying around with like doing like making a Cockney, for example, because you basically you can tell it to respond in a certain way. So we're playing around with them. I'm not sure if we'll do the Cockney one. We might do. You have to wait and see when you turn up in the day. But it might well add we're gonna add a bit of fun to it. So it's not just your usual AI agent. But yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll get him to add that stuff in there because that's the thing, right? We can pretty much train on everything. Right? We've done a lot of stuff around restaurants,
Yeah,
football
traveling,
teams,
eating.
the sort of the sites, those kind of things. I'm sure someone out there is going to ask you something outrageous. They're going to try to break it. They're going to do something. Luckily, this one here is. I mean, still has got guardrails, right? So you can't ask it to do stuff where you can't, like, I think if you start effing and blinding at it, it will sort of, tell you to calm
Yeah.
down a little bit. But I'm sure we'll see lots of different things appear on that demo as people go through. Should be fun. I mean, that's the other thing. We get to see everything as well. I mean, this is what's quite good about I suppose it's like a QM module, if you will, for the AI. Right? Because that's the other thing, right? As we move more and more of these things to AI, how is a quality manager going to quality manage these things? So we're actually just about to release our own AI QM. So that encompasses all of our AI channels as well as people channels, human as well, but it's all in one platform. So that's going to be coming out in early calendar 26. But that is going to help us with these kind of things. Right? Who is trying to break my AI engine? And even things like, actually more serious things like fraud.
Yeah.
If someone's trying to do prompt injection into my AI flow, you need to know that pretty quickly. Actually, there's other things we've built into the platform is how are we going to start picking up people trying to hack our AI in real time and try to break that down. So those sort of things are also exciting, but also a bit scary that people are doing this. As AI becomes more prevalent, you're going to find a lot more people trying to hack these systems, trying to find backdoors into other systems.
And I mean, I'm fascinated by AI QM. Is that some of the stuff? So there's going to be like this kind of the real entry, stopping people doing nefarious stuff, being the guard against significant stuff that could be detrimental to you, the customer, another organization. But is there also the element of feeding back to the AI, the voice AI or the AI agent around communication in the same way that you would with a human? Is that how it would? Is that how you guys plan on making it work as well, or?
So give me an example. How do you mean?
So will it be monitoring interactions and looking for ways to improve
Oh,
the
yeah.
contact with the customer?
Yeah, I mean, so some of the things we're looking at is automated call flow creations, for example. Right? So if we're getting, let's say, an abundance of calls with a certain kind of thread or theme, maybe you sell widgets and widget Y is having some issues, is going to pick up these kind of trends within your call flows and the voice interactions. And it's going to allow you to say, we're going to recommend you build this flow here to automate these calls, perhaps. So we have a lot of these sort of dynamic creations of AI agents and flows, like voice flows, being done based on the interactions coming in live to the system. So there's some really cool things that are coming out.
And you guys are taking on quite a task then to voice AI across all of the different languages that you cover, and the nuances there. There must be a lot of work that's going into that.
Yeah. So we have 16 languages right now. We're getting up to 50, sort of what we'll call sort of beta. And then after that, we're just going to keep on rolling them out, depending on demand. So it's quite hard because you have to test it all. It's not just the voice agent. Then you've got to think about the back end as well. If it's like in digital, you've got to think about all those things as well. So you really got to make sure it covers everything. And also because our platform does more than just the CCaaS. We have UCaaS we have CPaaS, we have all these different things under this umbrella of CX. And we want to make sure the experience is holistic. So there's a lot of work going into that as well. Like, for example, we have a lot of our customers are still using just voice. Like, we have these huge customers with 300,000 phones on desks or cell phones. They want to see some contact center features in there. So we're bringing all these things together into that single platform to sort of be able to manage calls from cradle to grave, if you will. So lots of really cool innovation happening there too.
Have you got a view on whether through your clients, are there certain types of contacts from customers or certain areas or industries that are more inclined to conduct the entire interaction with a voice AI versus those that are more likely to escalate and say they want a human?
At the moment, we're seeing lots of proof of concepts. So everyone's sort of dabbling. Everyone's a bit nervous about letting it loose on their end customer. What we've seen a lot of is internal use cases. We had one, for example, for an HR system. So we had a NHS trust who have a internal HR line of maternity, for example, and had a lot of documents around that. So they had like 2 people manning this HR team. So we literally uploaded all of their HR documents into the AI agent and enabled a voice AI agent above that. And for them, this was really easy. It wasn't like a compliance thing. It sort of gave their internal employees a way to get to HR. It get HRs quickly without having to read through the reams and reams of documents they had. I don't know about you, but Cisco, we have like millions, must be millions of documents around internal stuff. And just to be able to ask a question in plain English around how many days of leave do I get if I live in this country, blah, 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 and then just pops up is so much easier. But anyway, this NHS Trust found that it reduced like their calls to the team massively, which gave them time to go and do the things HR really should be doing. So this is sort of the use case we're seeing, internal use cases, trying and testing it, and then they get comfortable enough to then say, okay, well, let's try it now on maybe a customer use case or something. So I've got another one, for example, where they want to use it for an out-of-hours service. So at the moment, they have an out-of-hours service from 8 p.m. till midnight. It's an estate agent, and they don't really want to have people there. And it's a bit of a rubbish shift to have as well.
Yeah.
So they think, well, if we can put an AI front end to that, that'd be really, really useful. That's something we're looking at right now. It's just it captures some information, we're looking to sell, looking to rent, blah, 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 and then just sends that to the agent for the morning, who then deals with it as an outbound, for example. It's really, really simple, but it's a good place to start.
I think these are great examples, and especially when you think about it as an employee, like you have worked in some big organizations where there was a lot to try and take in. You might needed to ask about anything to do with your own employment. What a great example that is of being able to have a conversation, verbalize what you're after, and I imagine get a quicker response back, as long as everything that's been uploaded into it is up to date and accurate. And I guess that's critical as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much stopped looking at SharePoint internally, because now we have this new IT AI bot called Circuit, and I literally just ask it anything I want, and it will go into all the backend systems that Cisco has and just give me most of the time a really good answer. And we're sort of being encouraged. We're getting lots of internal training. I think they really want us to be doing AI every single day internally, get really, really comfortable with it. So all of our internal training is really geared around how we can become better at what we do using AI. And I think for the teams, that's quite a good way to give you ideas as well. So when I speak to customers and the team speaks to customers, a lot of that knowledge we're learning internally, we can sort of say, look, have you tried these things? Because we're quite lucky here. We have a lot of technology. We have the ability to build quite cool things internally because we have the infrastructure, we have the developers and those kind of things. So I think that really is a great benefit to our end customers, all the things we're learning internally about ourselves.
Do you think this kind of trajectory of adoption and use by end customers is going to continue or even speed up over the next sort of year, 2 years?
I think so. When it becomes, I think it will. I'm not sure how quickly it will be. I mean, getting the voice agent working for us was actually really, really hard. Because if you imagine you've got to speak, you've then got to capture that speech to text, you've got to send that to the LLM, you've got to do what you need to do to get the right answer, maybe integrating into a back office system like a ServiceNow, Salesforce, or whatever it might be, and spit out the answer, maybe create the workflow. All that has latency. So what you can't have is like more than a few milliseconds. If you do, it's just a horrible experience. So it took us I mean, we get these presentations internally where like, okay, we managed to cover another 100 milliseconds on this part here, and actually, actually that makes a really big difference. But just those little gains, those little marginal gains require a lot of work in the back end to make that work. So I think I sort of feel like we're at the forefront of that. A lot of other companies are trying to get there, but I think it's going to be really, really hard for them to do so because the investment is going to be so huge. So I can see a lot of consolidation happening over the next few years because we've had other big CCaaS vendors go and buy other AI vendors recently because it is really hard to do this yourself. You've got to sort of go and acquire, and then you've got to integrate those two companies. So I think we have a head start there. But I think so. Not everyone out there is going to want to buy a Cisco solution as much as I'd love them to. So I think until others start getting on that path, it won't be pervasive. But hopefully we will lead the way and show the way, and then others will hopefully try to. Well, hopefully not, but we'll be trying to build similar kind of solutions to ours. But yeah.
I guess if they do, it's a sign that what you're doing is working, no matter how frustrating that might be.
Yeah. But it's really, really hard. Just the AI is just one piece of it. It's the back integrations. So there's like there are thousands of back end systems. You mentioned Salesforce, and there's all these kind of CRM providers. All the data is currently kept. You've got to find ways to interrogate the data as well, because that's where it's all, a lot of it is. So that's just another massive element that people don't really think about, that you need to make all this work into something that's going to be useful to create your good ROI.
Well, it's fascinating stuff. And so what are you hoping people do? Are you going to be there both days for the expo?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Wouldn't miss it. We're there in full force. So, I mean, we've got like about 15, 20 of us down there for the 2 days. We're doing 2 breakout sessions. So Joe Pratton, who leads our CX for public sector, is going to do a really good talk. I think it's at 11:30 on day 1. And on day 2, we have we have a guy called Keith Griffin, who's a distinguished engineer within Cisco. That's like basically our top tier engineering people. He's like our AI guru, based out of Ireland. He's going to do a talk around some of the things I've just spoken about around the guardrails, how to use AI safely, some of the use cases around security as well. That's going to be quite interesting. So we will be there in full force.
And you want people to come over, try the phone booth. Please don't try and break it, or
no, try it. Go for it. I want to see what happens. You can try and break it.
And we can find out whether you do decide to make it a Cockney, and we can all upskill ourselves with rhyming slang.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. There might be some surprises in there for you when you come on the day. Actually, one other thing we're doing on the day is we're going to show people how to build it as well. So one of the pods on our demo booth will be build your own bot.
Wow.
And we'll run a little competition on that with some prizes as well. So people can come out, if they've tested, if they've tried the bot in the booth, come over and actually build one. We'll show you how we build it. And you'll be really surprised how easy that is. Because what we want people to do is, adopt this technology, but actually start building use cases themselves internally without having to rely on some third-party provider who's going to charge you £1,000 a day to do this. We actually want to empower customers to build these things themselves to get real value out of the solution. Because another thing that we do is once you transcribe the data in our solution, you have access to that data for multiple use cases as well.
Wow.
So I know we talk about the AI agent, but we also have like an AI assistant as well. So if you imagine on your agent desktop, as we're talking here, we're looking at NSPEX action, we're looking at real-time transcription, we're looking at sentiment, all those kind of things. So we've captured that from this conversation we're having. But there might be like 20, 30 use cases you have in mind for that data. And you can just build upon that yourself. So we have like 15 out of the box, so you can start doing your usual AI assistant use cases. But you as a customer might think, actually, this is quite a good one to use that data for. I'm going to do it for this one. And it will cost you a lot less to do it because you already have that data in there transcribed.
Wow. Can I build a get out of rap bot on the stand then?
Yeah, sure.
I'm, I'm going to do it.
What would you base it on? We can have to bring all your recordings. We'll figure it out.
Well, they're all available. There's a lot of
and they're all transcribed, right? Because they're all podcasts, so we can find all the themes and look at which podcast talked about this the most and whatever. Yeah, definitely, we could do all that.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be there.
I'll see you there.
I'm looking forward to it. And Dan, finally, outside of work, what is it you like to do? Where can people sort of find you? What's your passion outside of work?
I'm like the least sporty person you'll ever meet. I literally do no sport at all. So, won't find me out there doing any kind of exercise. Travel's my passion, really. I love just going away, little weekends away here and there, whatever I can. That's really what, for me, life's all about. Actually, that's not entirely true. I do have to follow my daughter around, playing netball around the country. So you quite often find me on a netball court in some weird place in the country, sitting in some hall somewhere watching her play netball. So I do that quite often.
I've
either that or traveling.
I've gone through a stage of that. A lot of stop and start in netball, I have to say, but that, still the same as anything. That great to see them active and doing their thing, but I'm a very patient, calm, positive parent on the sideline rather than one of the angry ones. But I must admit, it was quite frustrating. That I was thinking, God, the referee blows the whistle about 100 times a game.
I still don't really know why. I must have watched a million games. I still don't really understand when they say this happened. I'm like, okay, if you say so.
Dan, thanks very much for coming on. Form an orderly queue behind me at the stand because I will definitely be there. I think the phone booth is a innovative idea, perfect for our industry, and exciting to see what you guys are doing, and also building your own bot. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be giving that a go.
Brilliant, cool. Look forward to it.
Thanks for coming on.
That's been a pleasure. Thank you, Rach, and thank you, listeners.